Beast. This is Sahara, and I'm bringing you your mini miracle minute. To quickly review our last miracle minute, um, we ha- we named sporadic internet interruptions. There's a reason for that, in other words, our airways are not safe, even from us, because we're always shooting ourselves in the foot. Believe it or not, we're already beginning to spray things in the outer stratospheres to lessen climate change, and it hasn't really worked. It's a terrible idea. However, it has caused sporadic internet interruptions, and so our airways are not safe from Russians, ourselves, um, and any kind of hacking going on. And then we're spraying silly stuff in the air. It might be a good idea just to consider uh, addressing a climate crisis as opposed to further making a mess. As far as the way our government is run, it's like the Keystone cops as our leaders. It's pretty scary. We reviewed Queen Elizabeth and how the crown will be passed down. As I mentioned in the last Miracle Minute, uh, she has Pluto going over her ascendant, so she's been a good queen for many reasons. You might think of her as kind of a do-nothing monarch, but she's done a lot, including leading the world out of the depression of World War II. Interesting thing. She has her sun as um, 0 degrees of Taurus, and so does Adolf Hitler. And they were arch enemies, of course, during the Second World War. So uh, that's just very interesting. I've never noticed the 0 degrees of Taurus being that powerful. So it's something to consider. Silver is still a good buy, but if you had bought it last year, according to my suggestion, you would have retired by now because it really shot up. The stock market is inching down, of course. That's predicted last year. Um, Somehow, Trump backers have been fixing the polls for approval ratings. Have no idea how, but um, if they're pals with the Russians were able to influence the elections. I imagine they're influencing the polls on a big scale. Um, Kushner did share critical classified information with the Saudis. Now there's a 50-50 chance Kushner is going to take it on the lam to another country. He's going to be bios con Dios very soon. I don't feel her going to Saudi Arabia. Of course, they all seem to be sweethearts with each other, kissing cousins, but it's more like I see him in a southerly location, like Greece, south of France, Italy, that type of thing. There's a 50-50 chance he's going to take it on the lam. Okay, our boy Beto ORourke, as darling as he is, I vote for any cool guy that was in a rock band and still wears blue jeans. I'd like to see blue jeans in the White House as much as I like him. He joined the race during Mercury retrograde. Mercury is retrograde. In my group on psychic predictions for the world in Facebook, I go over the things that um, keep that you should and shouldn't, how to deal with Mercury retrograde and what is it. Now, um, so Beto joined the race at a bad time, so it's not his time. At least it wouldn't be that way. Um, Biden is waiting for Mercury to go direct to make his decision. He's kind of a cool guy, so he probably has some astrologers in his family. Darling Stacy Evans is still stirring things up in Georgia, and it has already been determined that she did win the race in Alabama for governor. But Kemp and his cronies are putting roadblocks in the way, just as they did with voter suppression and they basically everything illegal you can imagine. She would have won. Uh, the people spoke, but they didn't get heard. Um, he's powerful now that he's governor. He is doing everything to throw to keep Abrams from claiming her victory and terrible roadblocks. This is well known in political circles, according to my spirit guides. Abrams, will she be able to get through the roadblocks that Kemp is throwing up? Because Abrams did win. We'll see. But she's young and she's bright and she's smart. So we're going to see her in the future if she doesn't get through this. Basically, what I always saw was a obstacle course for her, and Kemp was throwing impossible things to overcome, and that's Georgia old old time Georgia politics. Things are going to change. Also, in the last minute, I saw something silver coming from Seattle, and I wondered what that could be. Is it a person, like with a name? Like I knew somebody named Sterling once. He was really cool. Um, is it something to do something? Like I said, they make good coffee there. They're about to come up with something else. I don't know if it's a person or a movement or something named Sterling, or they're really going to find a silver vein there. I mentioned bamboo as the crop of the future for making wood, wood houses and everything. There is a derailing of a mini Mussolini in India, and he's going to try to rise to power, but the Italians, as beautiful as they are, aren't going to have anything to do with it. Italians are lovers, not fighters. Um, Also, Judge Ellis with the Manafort trial. I saw Judge Ellis with a big stake, and I felt like sometimes I have visions and they mean two things. Judge Ellis had a big stake in the outcome of Manafort's trial, and Manafort got under 4 years. And let me tell you, a little black kid from the ghetto selling a $5 bag of weed will get 5 years or 20 years to life. This things have to change. Um, so not only I saw him with a big stake, so I felt like he had a big stake in the outcome, meaning he was on the take. As well, I saw stake clogs up arteries. I saw him with some arteries closing up in his body, and that causes bad things, heart attacks and pulmonary embolism. So he's going to suffer from that. Um, Chances are he'll be saved with stints and what have you, but that's karma. It's called karma, baby. Um, Space stations. I have a lot to say about space stations, but I'll hold off on that for now because I'm out of time. So, this is kind of cool. Mercury has been retrograde, and it will be up until the 28th of March. And it is at this time that Nancy Pelosi has said that impeaching Trump is too much trouble, which probably means all kinds of things. why they would kind of back off when they've got all the evidence rolling in the door with the Mueller investigation. But whenever you make an announcement with Mercury retrograde, like Beto did, and Nancy Pelosi, you'll change your mind. Beto is going to change his mind about running, and Nancy, Miss Pelosi, Iron Queen that she is, adorable Iron Lady, I think she is a little fiery Aries, and she's probably going to change her mind about chasing Trump down to go along with impeachments. Now, this is really cool. I picked this up. I know this is true, and I heard something on the news that kind of verified that the Pentagon, some of the higher ups in the Pentagon, have actually stopped Trump from pushing. Trump pushed the red button, and the signal goes over to the Pentagon, where it was stopped by some higher ups to trying to save the world, and they have orders to not paying attention to Trump every time he throws a tantrum with the red button. And a general on CNN said something, and I caught it right away because I'd already gotten a psychic from my spirit guides that yes, he had pressed the button, and we wouldn't be here. So thank you, generals at the Pentagon. I mean, really, they have orders to just don't paint it every time Trump throws a fit. We all know that. I think you know that. Um, Now, let's see what else I've got real quick. Oh, um, I did see, it's already happened though, I didn't post this soon enough, that Manafort would get a little break with the judge in D.C., his second trial, and he did get a little break a second time, but he's headed for New York prosecutions, and he will spend the rest of his life in jail, as short as it might be. I had Jane, when I was meditating, I had Jane Sanders, Bernie Sanders' wife, pop in. She will be in the news, besides her husband running for president for a second time and being married to such a dynamic guy, a Virgo, no less. He is a very, very exact, he likes details, so he's going to be good. He doesn't have the um, particular aspects that show that he'll be, there's certain aspects that show that you have a possibility to rise to presidency. Trump did, unfortunately. It doesn't mean you'll be a good president. It just shows that you're going to show up on the scene. And Sanders does not. I was so disappointed. He is a great man and a great senator, but the thing is, right during the 2020 elections, he has fantastic aspects that might push him over the hump as far as his president negating aspects. It shows that he hasn't got, there's certain aspects. It does not speak to what kind of president you'll be, but Sanders doesn't have the aspects. It is kind of an unusual aspect, and he doesn't have it. So we got 50-50. He's smart, and he's an exacting Virgo. He can kill him with details, this guy. But he doesn't have the aspects that make you a president until 2020. So we have yes and no. And of course, I adore him. I think that somehow the Packers have Trump, which it could be facts in France and the Russians. We have a president that is influenced by the Russian presidents. Oh my God! So they can do a lot of things to our telecommunications, including changing approval ratings. I have no idea how they do that. However, I have some really nice stuff for tomorrow that will tell us we're living in some exciting times. It is up to us all to. Oh, the one thing about there's always something interesting on the radar. China, um, China is going to. We're going to have an asteroid strike right in the middle of China, or they're going to do some kind of underground blasting and blow a big hole in the middle of their country, which would be, of course, shooting themselves in the foot. But that's our job. Right now, the United States, we're kind of we're kind of leading in the shooting yourself in the foot category. But China's going to make a bad decision with underground. Don't try to blow things up, especially the ground of which you stand on. Think about it. This is where we live. This is a stand. You wouldn't go to your house and put dynamite under it. That's what you're doing. But they're going way, way ahead of us technologically. They're doing great um, infrastructure to make a really will be no competition for them. What we're worried about, the wall, Trump's wall, and who he's sleeping with, what porn star there's a scandal with. China is, and so is Russia, but more China is getting really hip with the becoming a global force, making us look like a third world country. So um, that's what that's our choice. That was the choice of the people. We kind of voted for him, except Hillary really won. Um, and so that's water under the bridge. Let's do a little better in the next election. And who's gonna win? That I need to meditate, and tonight is meditation night for me. So I'm going to say, stay tuned.